is the full form of PRPC, which means the Pega Rules Process Commander. So what exactly it tells you? So it tells that Pega is basically a combination of two things. It's a rules engine plus a process commander. So Pega Rules is a rules engine, and we have a process commander which takes care of execution of the rules at runtime, compiling and everything. So before I tell you what Pega is, you need to understand that Pega is a product which is completely built on Java. So just think that maybe a couple of developers like us, they built an app, a small app you can just think of like a mobile app. So they built an app which is called as Pega. Okay, maybe in 1980s they started building it. And now today it has grown into such a big tool that most of the companies use it for developing their web applications and mobile applications. Okay, so that's the basic purpose of Pega. We develop web and mobile applications. So why should I go Pega? Why not in the Java itself? The only thing is that Pega is an automated version of Java. So people like me who doesn't know coding or who are not so good at coding, like they can learn Pega and they can develop nice web and mobile apps without having to get into the granular details of coding. So if I want to quickly build a function or a method, it's very easy for me to do in Pega. Or if you want me to build a screen with drop down and calendar icon, I take a fraction of a second to do it. Same thing if I asked me to do it in Java, maybe I need to Google for a half a day. So that's what Pega is. Pega is nothing but an automated version of Java. So developers with low developing skills can also build a web application. Okay. So in Pega, what people do is you have everything built in. You have methods, you have functions, you have libraries, everything is available. You just need to learn how to use the tool and build your web application. Okay? So that's what Pega is actually. It's a product built on Java. It's like how you're using a small app in your mobile. Okay, instead of not doing the manual process, the same thing. Instead of writing a program or a big project in Java, you use Pega as a tool to build and deploy applications. It can be a mobile app, web app, or whatever you want to develop, you can develop on it. So just like how Java has its own libraries, own APIs and everything, Pega also has its own libraries, so own syntax, own methods, own APIs and everything. So you need to learn how to use Pega. Okay? That's what basically learning Pega is. The people who have good knowledge on Java, they'll feel it very flexible like a cakewalk to work on Pega. Because same terminology, class, function, methods, work objects, inheritance, everything is one and the same. But it's built on Java. So Pega name has two components. One is Pega Rules and Process Commander. So Pega Rules is nothing but the rules engine, which I was speaking now. APIs, libraries, this and that, right? So that is the rules engine. So Pega Rules is a rules engine where you will find all the built-in rules of Pega. All the built-in rules. Okay. So tomorrow if I want to develop an application in Pega, I have to use Pega Rules because all the built-in rules are there in the rules engine. I have to use it to build my application. And coming to Process Commander, so it's the one that does all the compilation, execution at runtime, picks the right rule, and does all that for us. Okay. So Pega Rules Process Commander is the tool name. Pega is basically a BPM tool. Just give me a second, I'll share the PPT. Okay. So Pega is basically a BPM tool. What exactly is BPM? BPM stands for Business Process Management. It's a methodology. Okay. So just see in real time, like whenever you're there, or maybe in your BTech you might have studied, we have waterfall model, incremental model, this and that. Okay. They are nothing but they help you in completing your software development life cycle. So they tell you a process. If you follow that process, you will get good results. Good results in the sense less bugs, more quality of the product. And the product should also be reusable or extendable down the lane even after 10 years or 20 years. So here I built a small app. Okay. Tomorrow, maybe I built it for Citibank. Okay. Tomorrow the Citibank started 20 branches across India. So my app should be in such a way, it should be able to support 20 countries tomorrow. It's not like, no, I can't support it. I can only support one country. It should not be like that. So your application should be built in such a way. It is very scalable, flexible. Okay. So that's what basically methodologies tell you. So one such methodology is BPM. So BPM is nothing but a methodology. It means it tells you some best practices, how to develop a project, how to complete a software development life cycle, and how to give good results to the client in shortest timestamps. So what exactly BPM tells you is, BPM says like the entire application should be process driven. So the name itself tells you, see, it's a process management. Okay. So process driven means, according to us, I mean like any software developer, process is nothing but the business process. Means flows for us. So BPM says that make your application in such a way it is completely driven by the flows and not driven by the code. Okay, so there is a little bit of confusion, right? I'll explain you. See, Java is a program which is driven by code. It is not driven by flows. Means, if you build a project in Java, okay, the first thing that starts in Java is the main method. Okay, in the main method, you will create objects or instances of the classes. Okay, and in that class, you will start triggering the functions, methods, and everything. So, first the main method will start. It's a method. Okay, it's a code. This method calls another function. That calls another function. So it's like completely a function calling another function, and that's how your program executes. So what BPM is saying is, firstly, don't use this method calling mechanism. Why don't you put a flow diagram? Okay, because flow diagram is visually nice to see. So whenever a new user comes to my application, I can show him the visual graphic diagram, and I can say, hey, this is how my business goes. Like first screen is registration screen, next is login screen. So I can just show him a flow diagram, and I can even explain him. And even for the new developers who come into your project, if there's a new enhancement or a new requirement, if it's a flow, you can easily understand it. You can easily update it and work on it much better. If you give me 2,000, 3,000 lines of code, I'll not even understand where it is started and where it is going. Okay? And the chances of errors are too high. Because it's a code. Yeah, of course, there's a little bit of change in the function names. I'll get confused. Instead of modifying the code at line A, I'll modify it line B. End of the day, I'll spoil everything. So that's what BPM says. So, hi, please make business process, means flow as an integral part of your development. Let the application be driven by the flows and not by the code. So what happens in Pega or any other BPM tool is, first, the developers will draw the flow diagrams in the application. Okay. Then on the flow, we'll start putting the functions, methods, UI screens, whatever it is. Okay. So I'll just show you one of the flows. Then you'll get a picture of it. Just give me a second. Okay. I'll just show you a small flow. Okay, so this is how we do. It's not a flow, but it's a parent of the flow, you can think. So we say that in this application, it's a banking project. In this application, we have three stages. First is adding a payee, then transferring the funds, then sending an email. Just I divided my application into three big parts. Now I say what are the process involved in add payee. I'll put my flow here. So I'll open the flow and tell you like how do we do it. Don't get confused about the navigation. You will get habituated to it once you learn it. So I'm opening the flow, add payee. So this is how we design in Pega. So first I will divide my major project into small pieces like this, which are called as stages. After that, under each stage, I'll start putting my flows. So flow is the one that defines my business process. So I have many inbuilt shapes in Pega like this. So still many are there. So you'll put the shapes first, then you'll understand, okay, this is for adding new payees. Okay, the next one is for validating the user credentials. So you first will put the shapes. Then you'll put your screens, functions, methods, and everything. That's how BPM works. Okay, so that's what is BPM. BPM says that the application should be process driven. Okay. Uh, Basically, this flows and stages will be done by LSA people. Only coding part will be given to the people like below 4 years of experience. They'll do only coding. So this is design, right? Architecture and design. It will be done by the architects. Don't compare architect in Pega as architect in normal software. See, in Pega, from day one, you call yourself as an architect. You are CSS certified, you are an architect. WSA, senior architect. But we have different architects. Architects means people with good experience like 9 years, 10 years. So those who have the design experience of an application will design these stages. So they will tell you like these functions should come under this stage. This is the flow which holds this shape. So all the design part they will do. Then inside this, like what all you want to put, you will start doing that back end coding. So they will give you the no. Coding means like designing the screens, calling the inbuilt functions and methods and all that you have to do. No, 90%, like even the 95% of the times we do not write a single piece of code until and unless your project really requires, which is something not built in Pega, we go for it. But before even you go for a coding, you even check with Pega systems. We raise a ticket to them. Hey, this is my request. Is there any inbuilt feature? And if they say yes, you can achieve this way, we'll go ahead. Otherwise, they'll give you some hot fix. I mean, like they'll give a fix in their project. And I mean, yeah, I'll show you. But ticket raising and all you can do only with your company mail ID. Okay. So that's how we do it. Okay. So this is how we design the rules in Pega. Just give me a, okay. So this is about just BPM, how BPM works and everything. What a bit, I'll share you this PPT, you can just understand. At the end of the day, it is nothing but driving the business process. Okay. So this is how usually the traditional approaches are. Actually, the client requires like this. You know, most of the clients even can't express what they really want because the current process is manual. Now we are trying to automate it using a project. They also can't explain you properly. So this is how he explains us. And this is how we will understand. And finally, this is how we build it. So there's a huge gap between like what client is saying and what we are understanding. Even to bridge this gap, we go for BPM. So why we go for BPM is, in Pega, okay, we don't gather the requirements in a Word document or in some external tools. Pega itself has a small wizard or a tool kind of, okay. In the tool itself, you will enter your business requirements and everything you'll capture in the tool. And Pega automatically converts your business requirement into flow diagrams. So when you develop a new application in Pega, you might have observed it. There were like 4 tabs. You only enter the business requirements. You only enter like what all classes and tables I want. Pega will automatically create the flows and other things for you. Okay. So that's one major advantage of going with Pega. There's no gap between like what the business is saying or what the client is saying and what the developer is doing. Because we convert the direct requirements into business flows in Pega. And at any point of time, you can generate a requirement document from the Pega tool. And you can share it with the client. And the other thing is like, see, even if you're done with 20% of your development, you know, you can show the flow diagram to the client and say, hey, is this correct? Or are you on the right track? You can just show him and you can tell him. So at the initial stages itself, the client can say, no, this is not the way the flow is supposed to go. There's something wrong, do like this. So the flow diagram means even the client can understand. If you show him some Java code and say, hey, this is the way, he will laugh at us. So that's one advantage of the flows. Because the business people can also understand, it's a diagram, everybody can understand. Okay? So that's one major good advantage with going with the BPM tools. And why Pega? The major thing is like it's very time effective because it's completely automated. Developers need not do any coding. So you project which takes 1 year can be done in 3 months or 4 months in Pega. And you don't require many resources. Maybe if you require 4 resources for Java, with 2 people in Pega, you can do it. So time effective, cost effective. Okay, and it is very, very scalable. There are many BPM tools in the market here. They are like Appian is there, Oracle BPMs are there. So many other IBM BPMs are there, TIBCO is there, Corday is there. There are many BPMs in the market. But the only challenge is like not every BPM tool is flexible as much as Pega, and not every BPM can serve all the clients like Pega does. Appian is not flexible and scalable. So you can't use Appian. So every tool has its own disadvantages. Whereas coming to Pega, it was able to sustain all that and it is able to sustain in the market. Now Pega has launched machine learning also. Pega has robotics also. Pega is available in cloud environment. So like real-time companies need not invest lots and lots of money for setting up the servers and everything because Pega is available in cloud. So there are many advantages why people go for cloud, like Pega. And one more good thing is like in Pega, we design only once and we access anywhere, which means that, let's say for example, you have designed a web application for Citibank. So Citibank came and said, hey, well done, very good job. Why don't you build us a mobile app for my users? Again, I'll sit 6 more months and I'll build a mobile app. So it's like extra 6 months I'm spending, right? So that you need not do in Pega because in Pega, we only design once and we can access it in anywhere. So the same web application, we can convert it into mobile app without much effort. Okay? So that's one good thing with Pega, design once and access anywhere. I was explaining you this, the definition of Pega rules and process commander. So Pega rules is basically a rules engine which is completely built on Java. And process commander is the way you organize your rules, the way you compile and pick the rules at runtime, and everything will be taken care of process commander. Okay. So I'll just show you some how Pega rules work. Then, yeah. So as I was telling you, like Pega is a tool which is built on Java. So this is something that I write daily when I'm taking the class, and I use this daily to give a revision. So from day 1 to day 30, I daily revise everything that was taught from day 1. So I have the notes like this. And so Pega is a tool which is built on Java. As Pega is built on Java, whenever you install Pega, you need to have JDK also. Because Pega can't work without JDK. Okay? And Pega is only front end. So back end, you need to install your own database. It can be Oracle, SQL Server, your choice. Okay, we need to install the database as well. So we develop web apps and mobile apps. And most of the apps are internal to the companies. When you say www.google.com, you find Google, right? You do not find most of the Pega apps like that. Pega apps are all internal secured apps. Like let's say, for example, we build an application for finance team for salary processing. So the finance team of my company would be using it. Similarly, maybe we build an application for healthcare, for insurance, health insurance of my company. So that would be used by the insurance employees of my company to judging like whether I should give insurance to this particular client or not, or what is the copay ratio, or what is the other alternative drugs I can suggest him. So most of the Pega applications are internal to the companies. They are very big applications who does a lot of processing, and they are not something end user facing. Okay, something like Gmail, end user facing. Something like Paytm, GoIbigo, Make My Trip, these are all end user facing. But most of the Pega applications are not end user facing. They are only internal to the companies and they do a huge lot of processing. Okay. Coming to the various rule types, see just like how Java has classes, functions, libraries, similarly Pega also has its own classes, functions and libraries. Various rule types in Pega, like portals, sections, flow actions, all these are rule types. Like how you call function, class, the rules, right? Similarly, we call them as portals, sections, flow actions, flows, decisions, properties, reports, integrations, and so on. So I'll just explain at high level what they are. Portal is a rule in Pega which is used to build a web page for the users. See, when I logged in, I saw this page. So this is a portal which was given to me because I'm a developer. Similarly, let's assume that you are a manager. So when you log in, you will be seeing this screen. So this is a portal which will be given to the managers. Now let's say that somebody else is a user. So this would be the screen that would be given to a person who is a user. Okay? So the portal varies from person to person. So that's what a portal is, the web page that the user should see. So portal is a rule in Pega. We'll design the UI there. Okay? So portal is made up of sections. So section is the place where you put all the fields, components and everything. Like let's say you want to have a table here, you do it in a section. You want to have a drop down like this, you do it in a section. So all that you put it in a section. Section is placed inside a flow action. Flow action is just like a drop area for section. So section kept inside flow action, then into the portal. So all these three together make a screen. Okay. Every one has its own importance. We'll let you know once you get into the technical stuff. So all these three together make a screen for us. Then flows, as I was telling you, it's a network of shapes. And Pega being a BPM tool, everything is driven from the flows in Pega. So when you log into the application and you try to create a case or run the application, the flow starts. You kept something on the first shape in the flow, that will execute. Then you kept something on the next shape in the flow, that will execute. So that's how the flows would be, the cases would be progressing. You can see a sample thing in my application. See, we have built. Okay, I'll show you in my developer portal. There's a home screen. I'm just leaving it. Okay. So this is the first screen, right? I'll just go to where am I. It tells me like where in the flow I am. See this. So we divided the application into three stages: add payee, transfer funds, and send an email. In the add payee stage, on the first flow, on first screen I'm there. So my application is completely driven by the flow. Now see, I'll submit this. Now do a where am I? See, you came to transfer funds, first flow, first screen. You submit this, you'll go to this screen. So that's how your Pega works. The way you put your flow, the same way your application is going to work. Okay. So that's what a flow is. And this is just an example of how the flow works. And we have decision rules in Pega. Decision rules means like in Java you have if, else if, same thing, nested if. That's what we call as decision rule in Pega. Used to make a decision. Activities, nothing but the Java functions and methods. Properties, variables in Java. So you're entering some data like name, age, phone number and everything. I should store it. I should validate it, process it. So how can you do it? I need to have a variable to store your data. So properties are nothing but variables in Java. We call them as properties. Report definitions. Yeah, you have something? No, you only have to do everything. Properties, activities, everything we do. Based on your requirement, let's say for example you have built a login screen. Okay, you are asking username and password. So when the person enters username and password, you need two properties. One to store his username, one to store his password. So you will go and create two properties. Then once he submits the screen, you need to go and validate whether his credentials are valid or not. So you need to write an activity in which you will write a function which will go and check in the database is this user ID password combination is existing. If yes, take him to a login screen like that. Customer gives you the requirements at a high level, not till this level, but you need to understand and you have to go ahead and do it. Usually leads will split the task into small things and they will share it with us. Because it's a huge requirement. It will be broken between multiple people, so you will get small pieces. They will explain you in detail at the granular level what you are supposed to do. Okay. Okay. Similarly, we have report definitions because we need to generate reports. Sometimes managers would like to generate reports and see the day-to-day progress. So we have report definitions like number of users of my application. So my application was recently launched. I want to see like how many users have come. So in the first month I'll generate a report and I'll say, oh, only 10 users are using my application. Then second month, 20 users. Third month. Some reason we always need reports. Maybe I want a report to identify like what are all the failed transactions and why are they failing. We generate reports. Then integration, like we have services and connectors, we'll discuss later. I'll be teaching a SOAP service and a REST service and all. Okay. So this is just how the class goes on. I have told them about the various shapes, various rule types, okay, how to use them. Then we discuss about what is a rule set, what are rule set versions, how an operator can get access to an application and everything. So basically, you need to understand like what a rule set is and all. Then you will understand this whole mapping. Okay. Then every rule will have rule name, rule type, and version. Every class in Pega will always have a data table. Then we have two types of tables in Pega. I'm just showing you the high level, like what was taught to them. We have Pega tables and RDB tables, and what is the difference between them, who creates them. Okay. So all this is what we completed till date. Apart from that, there is one more, I think. Let me check. I completed so we completed this as well, the types of properties, like value, value list, value group, page, pages, page group, and all this. This is what we have done till date. Okay. So maybe if everything goes fine, like if you would like to continue, then I'll be explaining you all this as a part of the backup class. Yeah, we can complete this. It doesn't take much time. See, just like I think we have completed till here, right? Just in the demo. I mean, like I just told the report definition, right? So it doesn't take much time. It's okay. We hardly need 4 hours or so to complete all this. Hmm. Yeah. When you're doing this theory itself, you will create a new application. So when you create a new application, you will build all those things. I'll show you. It doesn't take much time. They are inbuilt manager and user portals that I have got. I didn't customize them. They're inbuilt. Like whenever you build an application, Pega by default gives you a manager, a user, a developer, and a BA. Okay. So those things that you have seen are the inbuilt one which I got for my project. Okay, so you need not customize it or do something. It doesn't take you much time. You saw creating new application, right? So once you create it, you just come and do like this for your application also. You'll find it. Oh, okay. Video. And no, it's an inbuilt one that I have shown you. I mean, like application is mine, but this is auto-generated by Pega. No, everybody is like that. No issues. See, that's the reason, we are teaching the theory first, right? First 2 to 3 days, it's all whole theory to make you familiar with the names. Because if I start saying section, flow action, nobody can understand, right? Like what jargon she is using, they will think. So, Java basics you need here. I mean, like OOPS concepts. Just try to brush up like what is class, what is object, what is inheritance. Just these three you study well, it's enough. And because it's built on Java, right? So if I say, hey, parent class, child class, you should be able to map, okay, parent class, inheritance. I said property variable, okay, it should class, object. The mapping you need to understand. So just brush up on that. Hardly 1 or 2 hours if you study, it's enough, not more than that. That's okay. We don't write anything in Java. We always work on Pega only. Nothing. Function and methods are one and the same. What is the difference is something inbuilt, we call it as method. Something which you can also develop is called as a function. Uh, but both are one and the same. You call a function, you pass parameters. You call a method, you pass parameters. Both of them will give you the return output. There's no difference. I'll show you one activity you will understand. We do not write any coding. We always have inbuilt functions and methods. I'll show you one, then you can understand. I'm just creating a test activity. Okay. See this, there's so many methods like this. So we just need to choose like what you want and you need to do it. So maybe I choose like page copy. So copying data from one page to another page. You expand it. It lacks method parameters. Like source page, target page. That's it. This is method. Same way, I'll show you functions also. Here we have a library. We'll find all the functions. Okay. Let's say I want substring. Okay. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Yes. If you don't know the parameters, you have to try. I mean, like, if you don't know it, you don't know what to pass, or you don't know, like, what are the values. Okay. Hmm. Now, okay. If you don't know the method names and everything, see, just take a method. You always have a question mark here, which is nothing but a help for you. So if you click on this help, Pega will tell you, like, what is the use of this method, what are the parameters, everything in detail you'll find. No, there are around like 70 plus methods, not everything we use daily. In a regular usage, we have 10 to 12 methods, which daily, day-to-day routine we use. So those things are the one you can concentrate on a certification. Yes. But most of us use only 10 to 12 methods in every project. Not everything is a day-to-day use. I mean, like mm, say- activities are something which we write. So they are not something that exist. You or somebody in your team will write. Functions also the same way. You just come to this, you have a library. So you can search for a function you want, just like I have taken substring now. Let's say, for example, I want to pull date, some date function I want. I'll just hit date. I'll find all the date functions. Just see like what suits you. You want to add, you want to compare, you want date time, you want current date time difference. So just you have to choose like whatever you want. And if you're not sure, just put a mouse over. There's always a help like this. See, they won't give all these things. The thing is like as we are new to Pega or as we are new, we'll always have colleagues who can help us. So you just say your requirement here, I want to like subtract dates. How can I do it? Some people will tell you, hey, there's a method or a function, why don't you use it? So they'll be guiding us, no issues. Because not everybody will be aware of all the inbuilt functions and methods, right? Until and unless we use it once or twice. So we'll have people to guide us all the time, no issues. Yeah. And other thing is like we have PDN, we have many blogs, we have many forums. There's something called as Pega Mesh. We always go and post in that, and people will get back to us with replies within no time. You also have many Facebook groups and WhatsApp groups. There also people will help us. Just tell your requirement how to do it. People will be able to help us. But not every time you need to go till them. Yeah, once you join in the job, you'll get to know like people will always be there with helping hands. No issues. Okay. Anything else you would like to know? Okay, then just decide and let me know so that we can plan the backup accordingly as per your availability and everything.